All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about brewery blocks, which has been a project that I've been following very closely for quite some time. I think that brewery blocks is going to be a major game changer for a big, large section of downtown Tacoma. Now, the brewery district in Tacoma is basically an area that has seen a lot of revitalization recently. You can really and truly look back at Seven Seas Brewery for helping start that a little bit. Seven Seas Brewery is there, and then of course Rain I've talked about in one of the driving videos, which is a science and technology incubator. So they came there and actually started to focus their attentions in that area, which has been an area that's been long neglected and overlooked, and old warehouses and old buildings. And so now you're starting to see a rebirth. And so there's a lot of breweries that have started to pop up and spring up throughout the area. Now, two of the bigger pieces of this entire thing of revitalizing the brewery district in Tacoma is that you have the Tacoma Town Center. I've mentioned this several times, and that's going to be a huge development already under construction, and they're working on phase one as we speak. And it should be coming online relatively soon. It's going to add a lot of retail to downtown, a lot of eateries and places like that. Entertainment is going to be there. It's right across from Seven Seas Brewery. I had mentioned it's going to actually have a esports arena, which is going to be pretty spectacular. I'd like to check it out and see what that's really going to be all about. And of course, it's going to add a lot of living spaces. So those are going to be condos, student apartments, things like that. They changed to retool a little bit from what they were going to do before, but basically still sticking to adding at least a residential component to downtown, which is definitely needed. Part of their plan is to possibly have a grocer, so a grocery store or a mini theater, which I think would be quite amazing. Now, brewery blocks is a development that is also fairly significant because it's taking up a huge section. It's actually a 2-block deal. The blocks in Tacoma, if you're looking at city blocks, some of them are just your regular square blocks. Some of them are these long rectangular blocks, which is the case for brewery blocks. And what they're doing is between Commerce and C Street is where this development is going, 21st and 23rd as well. So it's that general area in downtown Tacoma. And so now they've come up with their renderings as to what the project's going to look like. Now, we've seen renderings of each piece over time. They first started off with the smallest building there, which is going to now actually hold a barbecue restaurant, which is coming from Seattle. The barbecue restaurant's called Bitterroot Barbecue. So a lot of people have talked about this place. That's a wonderful place. It's really good. A lot of people from here go up there all the way to Ballard to eat from there. So Ballard, which is a Seattle neighborhood, they're bringing some of their love down to Tacoma, and they're going to take over this particular location. So we knew about that. The other part of this is going to be you have office space. So right next to it is basically just an office component, and that's pretty cool. And it seems like they have another tenant, which is basically a Chapter 13 trustee that's going to be relocating from an office downtown that they currently have to the brewery blocks, which is great. So now they're showing the building that they're currently working on, which I've shown you in several different videos when I've been downtown. But basically this is a residential building, which they're adding like 4 additional floors on top of what was already there. They're refurbing the bottom half, adding 4 more floors to the top. And if you go to their website, Brewery Blocks website, which I will put down in the description block or the description box, you will be able to see a timeline as to the actual construction. It's pretty cool. I've even asked them, how come you don't have a YouTube channel? Because I think it would be great for people to see each construction building go up. Every building that you actually build, it'd be nice to see it go up. And this is a project that I think is going to be a really, really significant piece of Tacoma. They're really creating a district, if you will. So the first rendering that I'm looking at really and truly shows you kind of what it would look like at street view of the area. And this is standing pretty much, you can see the hotel behind it. When you've seen us there, we've been right there by that Holiday Inn. And so you're kind of seeing it from that angle. But this angle is actually down the street a little bit. Basically, if you're standing at University of Washington, Tacoma, and you're just kind of looking up in that direction, and you're able to see, it has the signage there, which says Brewery Blocks, Tacoma. It's got a very industrial look to it, which I really like. It kind of gives an homage to the past history of the area, which was industrial. So it fits. And then you also have these unique little landscaping pieces to it as well. I don't know if those are going to be actual lights that light up. If so, that's going to be awesome. I think that would be cool. Those little sticky things. That would be cool if those actually lit up. If not, it'd be a nice little piece of architecture which kind of blends in with the whole idea of it being very industrial, that metalish look. Hold on one second. Okay, I'm back. I actually had to take a call. But anyway, so it gives you a nice view of that. And you can see the stair-step buildings, right? You see the first building, which is going to have Bitterroot. You see the next building, which I believe is offices. It's the darker building. And then you see the building that's two-tone. It's kind of like a clay color at the bottom, if you will, and kind of an eggshell color at the top. And this is the residential loft style building. In fact, I'm going to include a link below that actually allows you to go to Brewery Blocks page, and you can actually go right to where they're reserving spaces for this apartment development whenever it does actually open up. And so they're going to have different, I think 5 different floor plans for you to choose from 1 to 2 bedroom places. I don't know the prices. It doesn't list that. So I can't tell you what that's going to be like. I would imagine it would be pretty decent in terms of price because their whole concept is live, work, play, and you're going to be really and truly by a lot of work because there's a lot of places where you can actually work. Obviously, you're going to be living there. And you're going to be able to play because Seven Seas Brewery and Brewery Blocks, they kind of want to blend together a little bit. They have nothing to do with each other, but it's kind of, if you go to Brewery Blocks page, they reference a lot to Seven Seas. Seven Seas is awesome. Everyone that's went in there says it looks awesome. I haven't been in there yet, but I will definitely check it out. And then, of course, I talked about the Tacoma Town Center is right across the street from it. So all of this really does lend into the whole live, work, play type atmosphere. And keep in mind, they want to add additional retail spaces. So this is not the only, this Bitterroot is not the only retail spot. They're going to be adding more retail to this. So I would imagine more bars, eateries, things like that will be coming down the line later. And then next to this loft and apartment building, it's like a little smaller building. I would imagine that's a parking garage. They already had built a parking garage prior, which is actually on Pack Avenue. And that allows you to get from Pack Avenue all the way over, which is the next street over, to the Brewery Block area. So it's pretty cool that you're able to get from one side to the other pretty easily, go up some steps instead of trying to trudge up the actual sidewalks because it is very steep in this area. But anyhow, it looks like that might be the parking garage section, which is needed. And then next to that is the building that I am probably going to be the most interested in. This building, which is the one that is the tallest of all of them, and you can see some of the windows kind of jut out from the others, is going to be their, what they call a tower. Now, to me, a tower is like something that's 20 stories or taller, to be honest. But they're calling it a tower, and it is, I believe, going to be 12 or 14 stories tall, I believe. And so this actual building here is going to really change the skyline. Because of where Brewery Blocks is located, and because of the elevation and all of that, and the height, you're going to be able to notice it. So it's really, really cool. I like the way that it kind of breaks up the street view. Like I'm still looking at the street view. When you look at it, it kind of breaks it up. I kind of like how that's actually done. Now, the next one is going to be the image from the corner of 23rd and Commerce Street. Now, Tacoma Untapped is a Facebook group that I follow. It's a Facebook page, I should say. And they typically tell you about a lot of things that happen in Tacoma, and it's a pretty cool site because you can kind of get an idea as to a lot of the things that are going on. It's really, really unique. So they were the first ones to actually come out with this. They actually posted on their Twitter, and I instantly saw this, and I was like, and I think a lot of people, because they've been waiting to see what's going to happen with brewery blocks, what's going to be some of the renderings. We've seen a lot of stuff with McMenamins and what the interior looks like, and it looks amazing. So we've been wanting to see what this looks like, and just looking at the buildings, I was like, wow, this is really interesting. This is something. So the building that's going to be on 23rd and Commerce, when you're looking at it, it's the end building. Right now, that area is just an old, nasty, semi-warehousey thing. The front's gone, but it just looks bad. But they're going to replace that with an office building. They say office and residential building. I would imagine from the looks of it, the top portions, which would be the top 4 or 5 floors, would be office, and then the bottom 2 or 3 would be residential, I would assume. You may have some retail there too, it looks like. But this building is really cool because it doesn't show it so much in this image, but in one of the images here, you're going to see, where is it? Right there. You're going to see how the building actually just kind of staggers out. It's just such a cool concept. It's really, really cool, and they're using cross-laminate timber to do this. So this is going to be one of the tallest buildings in Washington that actually has this cross-laminate timber, and I think it's going to be a little bit taller than the one that's in Portland. Portland's doing this too. So they're trying to really push this cross-laminate timber because there's other projects in the state that's doing this, because it could really and truly create a new job industry here in Washington. We're known for a lot of logging and timber, same with Oregon. So this could be a whole new industry of creating these manufactured panels and whatnot. So this could be a possibility. But anyhow, just looking dead on at the building, it looks really, really nice. I like the breakup of how the buildings are. They're just not regular cubes. Some of the buildings that you see here and also in Seattle especially just look like these little cube blocks. Hold on one second. Okay, apologize. So you basically have this breakup, and it's not just a single cube or a rectangle. It's actually got some nice appeal to it. Now, looking at this entire project, and when you look at the aerial view, you kind of get a good idea, and it's cool how they can actually blend this into present day Tacoma and what this will actually look like, and they have the cars all parked everywhere. It's really, really cool because it kind of creates the sense of a pedestrian street where you can just kind of walk down the street, which is not the case. But it kind of gives you that feel that you can kind of just walk down the street, because they're going to have these industrial, again, I don't know if they're lights. These are like light poles or not. I'm not sure if they're just kind of there. But they're going to be on both sides of the street according to this rendering here. And it gives you the feel that you could just walk down the middle of the street. Similar to the Tacoma Town Center, but it's not going to be that concept. This is really, really nice in terms of just seeing how it's going to actually add to the city. It's a really cool concept. If you notice from this aerial view, you can actually see behind this, you can actually see the blue building, the long blue building that's got this gabled roof. That's actually Seven Seas Brewery. And if you notice just up a little bit, that green area that looks like a park with no trees, that is actually where the Tacoma Town Center is going to be. So you can see exactly how close all of this is. So it really creates a very unique district. In front of this project, the row of buildings that are just sitting there, they're kind of not appealing. Those are buildings that face Pack Avenue, the street that you see in front with the double lanes. That is basically Pacific Avenue. That's where the light rail system runs. So again, you can see, and they did this so that people can see how close you are to a lot of cool things. Yeah, if you're working down there downtown, like further into downtown, people would say, but it's kind of far. It really isn't. especially when you look right next to this is the University of Washington, Tacoma. And then there's a station literally right there in front of the Washington State Museum, which is the red building with the arches that I showed you in previous videos. You can see it there in the top right. So you could easily get onto the light rail train and go wherever you need to go downtown pretty easily. So overall, I think this is a really, really, really cool concept. I can't wait for it to actually get developed. Right now, they're just working on building number 3, which again is the residential structure, which is going to have the lofts and whatnot. They're also advertising for those. So yeah, overall, I think it's pretty cool. Let me know what you think. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I will see you. Take care.